Steve, you've already done this one. Yep, and I had so much fun the first time, I'm gonna do it again. During all these recent episodes, we've been going way back in time and looking at the biggest dang-its throughout NHL history. But even though this one only happened last year, it's already a classic. Here is the Columbus Blue Jackets sweeping the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, before we go to town on this dinner, let's prepare it. Make sure we have all our ingredients, the seasoning, I know you like it nice and spicy. February 2019, the trade deadline approaches. A tale of two very different teams. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they decide we're perfect, and they were. About as close to perfect as you can be. Heading into the 2019 trade deadline, the Tampa Bay Lightning were 47-11-4. Would you make tweaks to that? No! They were 47-11-4 before the trade deadline, 15-5 after it, for a cumulative record of 62-16-4. The Tampa Bay Lightning in the 2018-2019 season were destroyers of worlds. At the same time, the Columbus Blue Jackets are... That's all they ever are, is are. Do they make the playoffs? Sometimes. They ever a real threat? No. Might they make the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs? Maybe. What about going forward? Well, isn't that the question? Blue Jackets general manager Jarmo Kekalainen had the very uncomfortable reality that two star free agents, both Sergei Bobrovsky and Artemi Panarin, were about to hit the open market. And, by the looks of it, not stick around in Columbus. And so you have your options. Do you just continue to be and maybe make the playoffs and make no noise whatsoever, only to have your two star players leave? Or do you try? Do you actually make a go of it? Do you add to your roster, try to win a Stanley Cup, and send a message to those two players who may or may not leave, or at very least your fan base, that this is a team, this is a squad that wants to win? That's what the Blue Jackets did. At the 2019 trade deadline, the Columbus Blue Jackets added Matt Duchene and Ryan Dangle, as well as depth pieces Keith Kincaid in net, Adam McQuaid on D, but it came at an extraordinarily heavy price. In those deals, the Blue Jackets gave up a 2019 first, fourth, and seventh. Also a 2020 conditional first, I'll spoil that one, that was based on Matt Duchene re-signing there, which he didn't, so they got to keep the first, and a 2020 second. They didn't get to keep that one. Oh, you thought it was done. A 2021 second round pick and a 2022 fifth rounder, and a heap of prospects: Julius Bergman, Jonathan Davidson, Vitaly Abramov, and a player who may or may not have gone on to have an amazing 2019-20 season, but we didn't know that at the time, Anthony Duclair. 6 draft picks, a conditional draft pick, 3 prospects, and a roster player in exchange for Matt Duchene, Ryan Dangle, like a 7th or 8th defenseman, and maybe your third goalie. Is that going for it? That sounds like it's going for it. But it's the kind of going for it that you hope not only gets you into the playoffs, but like significantly into them. I mean, you don't want a wild card spot and end up having to play the Lightning. Well, remember how I said that after the 2019 trade deadline, the Tampa Bay Lightning were a ridiculous 15-5? After the deadline, the Blue Jackets were 5-7-1 in their first 13 games. That last wild card spot's looking pretty appetizing because it's looking like they might not even make the playoffs. But then something happened to the Blue Jackets that just doesn't get talked about enough in this story. We hear a lot of things like, oh, they only had 98 points. Oh, they only beat the Montreal Canadiens by 2 points to get into the playoffs. But we don't talk enough about the fact that after going 5-7-1 in their first 13 games after the 2019 trade deadline, the Columbus Blue Jackets won 5 straight games and went 7-1 in their final 8. They outscored their opponents 34-14. And if you go back and count for yourself, you'll be like, Steve, I got 35. That's because the NHL counts a shootout win as a goal, and it's stupid. I won't do it. How does your team have a goal if nobody scored it? That's a different video. Where was it? The Blue Jackets went 7-1 in their final 8 games of the 2018-2019 season. They outscored their opponents 34-14 in those games, and in those final 8 games, Sergei Bobrovsky had 3 shutouts. And so the first round series ends up being the Tampa Bay Lightning against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and oh my goodness, it's gonna be a sweep. Well, you're onto something. And to look at it on paper, oh my goodness, Tampa Bay has 128 points. Columbus only has 98. There is a 30-point gap in this playoff series? But what everyone was sleeping on is the Blue Jackets, the new look Columbus Blue Jackets, were coming in hot. Game 1 in Tampa? Didn't matter. Alex Killorn makes it 1-0 Tampa less than 5 minutes in, and it's 3-0 after the first. This is a joke.
Just a minute into the power play for Columbus.
Alexander Texier pulls up, lays it back. Jones broken up. Shorthanded breakaway. Alex Killorn is in. He scores! Here. Ryan Dangle broken up. JT Miller pumped in by Chernak. The rebound. They score! Anthony Cirelli makes it 2-0. Will attempt to get it out. Panarin has a tough time. Braden Point dogging him. Jan Ruda. Sergachev scores! Yanni Gord might be the guy out in front. It redirected by Bobrovsky. 3-0 Tampa Bay.
Oh my goodness, Tampa is a wagon. They're going to win the cup. Columbus spent all those picks on nothing. Well, give it a sec. Everyone likes to show the goals from this series. This, to me, turned around with a save. Less than 30 seconds into the second period, the Lightning have a chance to go up 4-0. Oh my goodness, it's going to get out of hand. Bobrovsky!
Outside of Zach Werenski. Andre Palat, Stamkos is alone out in front. What a save! Bobrovsky comes up large.
He makes a ridiculous save, and it sounds silly to say, but he keeps it a 3-goal game. About midway through the second period, Columbus Blue Jackets captain Nick Foligno, he gets a breakaway.
Jumps the stick of Chernak, and now a breakaway. Foligno roars in, he scores! Nick Foligno. Columbus's captain comes through. 10:45 left in the second period. The Blue Jackets on the scoreboard.
Snipe! The Blue Jackets have life, but they're still down 3-1 heading into the third. Now it's the third period. All right, it's do or die. Tampa has possession of the puck in their own end, Victor Hedman specifically, and Hedman decides to give David Savard what's in his left pocket. David Savard takes the puck and decides, why don't I take what's in your right as well?
It all the way back in the Tampa Bay zone. Victor Hedman broken up. They're onside. Here comes Savard. Little toe track. He's right in. He scores! What a goal by David Savard! And with 12:04 left in regulation, Columbus is within one.
Hedman throwing the puck through the neutral zone. There's the aggressive play. Getting onside quickly is Nick Foligno. Then the inside out, or the outside in, I should say.
That is not just a giveaway. That is not just a nasty goal. That is a hockey game we're watching, folks. But Columbus, they get into penalty trouble. No, you can't do that. How are you going to be undisciplined and try to come back in this?
Right place, right time. Boone Jenner. Here they come, shorthanded. Josh Anderson with Savard. He'll cut through the slot. Anderson shot, scores! Josh Anderson with a shorthanded goal. It's a new story. Game 1 is tied.
Josh Anderson, short-handed. They tied this game. Are you serious?
Jones will draw it back. Werenski looks it over. Around the clock, Panarin, and now Jones with a shot. He scores! Columbus has climbed that mountain, and now they're at the top. With 5:55 left, they have a 4-3 lead.
This one, they look like the Tampa Bay Lightning. Werenski moves the puck briskly. Panarin over to Seth Jones, and this is a bell ringer off the bar and in.
So serious! Seth Jones on the power play. The Blue Jackets didn't even need to force overtime. They win game 1 on the road in Tampa 4-3. But it's okay. Tampa, they get this. They get it. You woke up the beast. Here they come, Blue Jackets. They got their own cannon. No. Very no. The Blue Jackets dominated the Lightning 5-1, and at the end of it all, Nikita Kucherov takes a nasty hit against Marcus Nudivara and gets himself suspended. That is dirty as the shoes you wear to mow your lawn. That's the league MVP that season doing that. Of course, putting the Lightning shorthanded and adding to their 3-1 loss in Game 3. All of a sudden, the Tampa Bay Lightning are on the brink of elimination. But if any team can come back, it's them. The Blue Jackets win Game 4, 7-6. 8-3. This is the weird thing. The weird thing is not that the Blue Jackets beat the Lightning. That was a little weird. I mean, but we established that the Blue Jackets were not your typical wild card team. They were probably already a wild card team, and then they went and added some pretty good players to their roster. They should have been better than that. And they went into the playoffs hot. Top-seeded teams, President's Trophy winning teams, have lost before. Although it's extremely rare, it's not impossible. What seemed impossible about all this is the Lightning were never in it. They were in it for one period in Game 1. After the first period in Game 1 where the Lightning went up 3-0, they allowed 7 straight goals. The Blue Jackets outscored the Lightning 19-8 in this series. And then it comes out after that, oh, the Lightning near the end of the season, team plane, little getaway, have some fun. And you can bet players around the league were mad that that got out because, never, ever again. Now, unfortunately, in the second round, the Blue Jackets turned into a pumpkin and lost in 6 games to the Boston Bruins, but they made a go of it. They made an impact on the playoffs, certainly. They took out the league's best team in a 4-game sweep. Now, there are all kinds of factors. Some of you screaming at the screen already. You didn't mention that Victor Hedman got an injury at the end of the season. Yeah, but he played, didn't he? That might be the bigger dang. Listen, the fact of the matter is the Tampa Bay Lightning went into the 2019 Stanley Cup playoffs not just as the league's best team, but as the league's best team by a wide margin, and they blew it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a dang it. Yeah, but can't it just be a hat pick for Columbus? It can be both. So, what'd you think of this edition of Steve's Dang It's? Leave a comment in the comment box down below, as well as some suggestions for ones we can do in the future. And before you go, for what? We already did that one. Go and watch it and then leave me alone. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. You know, maybe skip the plane ride. I'm just saying.